Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail with more test server action. You can see people are on the test server right now because it's more reasonable time, Europe time, as opposed to me in America. But today we're going to be taking a look at the spectator portion of this. As you can see, two developers here, Morre and xlson, or xlson, however you want to say it, are playing a game, and this is pretty much how it works. You just go to the arena match if you want to look at a game. You can sort by most popular, rating, newest, and all you got to do, very simply, is just click watch. Now this is on a delay, so you can see here it's about a 5-minute delay, and I'm already hopping in mid-game. So pretty much if you want to watch a game right away, you can wait for people to go here so we can look and see. Morre already beating up on people. He has double Stag Heart on his Kinfolk Brave. There's an Energy Siphon on his Kinfolk Brave, and he's protecting it with his Sister of the Fox. Looks like xlson is playing with Ripper, which is a new card, but otherwise he's playing Energy Decay. Now, I'm pretty sure that both of these guys are testing the pre-constructed decks that have been recently added to the test server, which I can give a little bit of an update on that in a companion video to this, because there are two new decks that are being added in there. One is a Energy Decay, the other is a pretty much like a Go Joe's weenie deck for order growth, as I'm forgetting the names of resources. But look at another nice feature here. You can actually see both players' hands in spectator mode. It's not just one person. So this is awesome, and you can see here plenty of good cards available. Oh god, Fleetness. Enchanted units cooldowns reduced by 1. What would that do on the Kinfolk Brave? I don't know. Aging Knight, on the other hand, is interesting as well to see here, because it is just, once again, a cheapy card. Its cooldown does increase by quite a bit over time. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of how both of these cards play out. xlson just getting his cards together here. Like I said, I didn't totally catch up on time, but he does drop a Cluster Hex to at least make this charge coil, if it does hit a little bit harder. But like I said, these are pre-constructed decks, so they're not going to have the top cards all the time. I'm not actually sure how many Kinfolk Braves it have. It may just have one, but you can see here really focusing on these smaller units here, which is pretty nice. A Kinfolk Ranger, another new card here. Pother, note the 2 resource cost here, and right now Morre is going to have to figure out what he's going to do here, because this Ilmar Rod-Eater right now could be at issue, and he possibly could have Pothered the Rod-Eater to get this Kinfolk Brave to kill it. May have been the better move, but still, Pothering the Machine Priest for card draw, dropping the Eternal Statue, and there we go. Machine Priest is dead. That's a start. Now the Rod-Eater is going to probably kill that, not the Eternal Statue. I don't know why I wanted to call it a Shrine, because that's dumb. Now xlson, once again, getting Watcher, which is interesting just in general, because when an adjacent unit is destroyed, Watcher deals 3 idle damage. So if he drops that near one of these units, this is another card that really plays well into Decay's wanting to destroy things. But yeah, there's 2 Beetle Stones as well, and when I talked about in the preview previously about ramping up Beetle Stones, this is kind of the fear or loathing or gathering of just, hey, this is pretty interesting what's going on. But yeah, both players just thinking about this real time, and this game, for all I know, it's going to go on for a while. And if you do want to hop out of the replay here, I'll try and check between turns, because he's dropping a Loyal Darkling here. Not able to take out the Kinfolk Brave, unfortunately. And not going to be using Sickening Fumes either, but this poor Brave now having 3 health just because of the Charge Coil and the Curse. But there's a Kabonk by Morre, and let's see here, we can return to game or we can leave. So you can hop in and out of matches at any time you really want to here. As Morre does put down the Kinfolk Ranger, I'm not entirely sure what he's trying to do at this point, other than I'm sure he'd really love to get the Loyal Darkling out of the way, because if it dies, it's just going to do idle damage. Morre could take out an idle here, but right now he's just going with 2 growth, 2 order. So this is really a Go Joe's deck in a way, and he's just trying to expose the Rod-Eater, and instead the Rod-Eater continues to get buffed. And now xlson could throw an Iron Bile down. Of course, that's going to leave his Rod-Eater exposed in time for the Kinfolk Brave. And unfortunately, he probably really wants something to protect his Rod-Eater, and he's not going to get it. He has to find a way to save it, and I don't think there is a way to save it at this point, as he got rid of one of the Beetle Stones. Drops down another Beetle Stone. That's one way to do it. So you get your structure there, at least to put something up together. Morre, though, with the Ranger's Bane, could be good. Could drop a Dryadic Power on this Rod-Eater and just lock it into one idle. Plenty of options here. Once again, Fleetness not tending to do a lot, and the Aging Knight is going to keep getting its countdown on. You can see the gray there for a debuff, which is pretty interesting. But both guys really just kind of gunning for the middle idol, excuse me. Here as Ranger's Bane, finally, there we go. Dropping a Dryadic Power to make the Ducal Infantryman just a little bit stronger to protect him. And this Rod Eater, once again, is just like, why won't you leave me alone? Now, he could use Draining Mist to up the cooldown on all these guys, and this Aging Knight will pretty much have to retire by that point. Because Fleetness doesn't do a lot of good when every time you attack, the cooldown is increased by 1. So eventually he's just going to be a blocker that just sits there and says, get off my lawn. But for now, this is kind of where you're at if you're doing an Energy Decay deck. You want a lot of direct damage, and this Precon deck, it has some, but it relies a little bit more on creatures and maybe some slowing down and locking down than other players may be comfortable with here. At this point, so he's going to sacrifice resources, but is he going to be able to do a lot with his extra growth here? He can try and do some Blind Rage here, but it's not going to be able to kill everything or anything. So there's Draining Mist. Is he going to combo it? Oh, he can use the Blind Rage to take out the Kinfolk Brave. There we go. Taking out the biggest threat off the board, noshing on that other creature as well. So xlson definitely taking out the biggest threat. And even though he took some idle damage early, as Kinfolk Braves tend to do, now things are looking pretty decent for him. Not awesome, not bad. He's still got to get some stuff on the board, and right now, Morre, with the issue of he has some weenie creatures, he's going to get 2 wolves out, and that'll at least drop things down. Now, he could have used Fleetness to drop the base cooldown of something like Kinvolk Ranger, but he probably wants to save that for a better unit. That poor Rod Eater is going to die unless he can kill something next to it next turn, and I don't think he can. So let's see here. He could play a Ripper. Iron Bile could potentially do something to let something else take out, but that'll just expose him to more units, or to more damage here, and then there's Sickening Fumes as well. So he does get a Machine Divinator, which I had talked about that before as being an interesting card, except that unfortunately it doesn't synergize terribly well with Charge Coil, because Charge Coil only has 1 cooldown, and it's already going to attack every turn. But the Charge Coil is at least going to do something here, do a little bit of damage. This Rod Eater is not marked for death just yet, unless Morre plays Fleetness or something, just to try and kill it, but he's not going to do that. Instead, he gets weenie creatures again. Royal Infantrymen, Ducal Infantrymen, Kinfolk, Ranger, again, Go-Go Power Rangers, I guess. As at this point, he's just starting to tempo up the board, get so many things down on the ground right now. Now, I don't know if the actual players can see who is spectating right now, but it's a matter of it is appreciated that the developers have added in a mode to spectate, because I know that's something that I've wanted for a while, other people have wanted for a while, and now if you want to just look at top level players play but they don't necessarily update all of their stuff on Scrolls Guide or Scrolls Post, you can at least see it in game and you can see their decisions in time. Now, it's not like Dota 2 or something where you have as that poor Aging Knight died because he was Curse 1, but you don't have something where you can look at the archive of recently played games, I don't think. And I'll have to see after this, because right now there's not a ton of people on the test server. But here we go. We're back to Morre, who can put out a Kinfolk, or what am I calling that, a Kinfolk Veteran? That's a Veteran of the Wild. And I play Growth. I should really know the names of cards here. But right now, Morre looks like he's in a dominating position, but xlson, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce that, because I'm sure there is a much better way, and I don't speak the language, unfortunately. So I'm just going to be calling him xlson. Pardon me. But here we go. Getting out an Iron Whip, which could kill any of his 1 health units that he has out there, but right now what he really needs is something along the lines of a bigger creature. Maybe, I don't know. The Monstrosity could be good on its own. It's better if you can get multiple Monstrosities out. And I guess one thing I didn't realize is that Monstrosity is actually an uncommon. I thought it was rare for some reason. But that's going to be a card that at least I like, and I'm curious to see how that's going to work. Could actually replace Blightbearer in some of my decks, but there's Blightbearer there. Always good to have, just in the Iron Whip to kill one of the creatures. And the Vetter getting shocked by the Charge Coil as well, so good fortune there. Morre with a timely Crimson Bull, though, so he can do substantial damage. take out the Blightbear. At least, of course, that threatens to poison his unit, so that's not necessarily the best ever. Magnetizer, which is an order card that I'll be talking about in the future preview here. Its countdown's increased by 1, but it does no damage, at least at first. But here we go. Crimson Bull will get some things going here as Morre's going in for at least the damage, not necessarily the kill, but unfortunately his units are now poisoned because of the Blightbear. Maybe he could have moved the Ragged Wolf, but he still has a lot of creatures on the board regardless. xlson, on the other hand, getting a Metal Wonder, which is a good card. However, because the precon that Morre is using is not is more of like a Gojo's, there's not a ton of spells that are played, but once again, there's Monstrosity. But like I said, I just love that art, and it reflects the card art really well. Just kind of a, you almost want to pet the creature, and then you know it's going to eat your hand, and you won't be mad at it because it's just making such a cute face at you anyway. So xlson putting down the Metal Wonder as well, at least trying to deter or deny any spells. But once again, it's just going to be a matter of what can Morre do to change or to work with this, because he's got a bunch of creatures on the board. He's just got to do something with it, and that's kind of the Gojo's thing of you just want to get so much stuff on the board, and a lot of little weenie creatures are all well and good, but I think that's going to be the turn for now. There's the Charge Coil doing 1 damage. Another Cluster Hex would actually work really nice with that. Meanwhile, Untainted could be good, but there's not really a great card to drop Untainted on, except for maybe the Unpoisoned Ranger there, or maybe the good old Winged Soldier, who is now just going to be standing up there. There is a, I keep forgetting what these call, Eternal Statue. I used to play with those all the time, but 1 idle down for Morre. At least xlson is going to need something to do, and right now he wants his opponent to cast spells with the Metal Wonder out, but that's not really happening, and that is a really valuable card to have in a pre-constructed deck. But of course, the precons, I think I'm trying to remember the gold cost, if they're the same as other precons. I think they're actually more expensive. The dual decks you cannot pick out as a new purchaser. I think you have to pick one of these solid color decks. But xlson getting another Charge Coil that's at least going to manage to do some damage, getting Machine Priest as well. Now the Machine Priest can move a structure, but that's not going to do a ton of good there, but some little bit of damage from poison. The Monstrosity is sitting there, and keep in mind, because there is a creature next to the Monstrosity that is not other Monstrosity, it gets -1/-1, and that means that this poor Ducal Infantryman is going to be able to look in the jaws of it and just swack it. I don't know why I said swack like that's a word, but just kill it. So xlson, not really a lot left on the table. He's getting overwhelmed by Morre. These are 2 precon decks that play very, very differently, and it's easy, unfortunately, for an Energy Decay deck structured like this to get overwhelmed. So there is a really good Cluster Hex target somewhere around here, but at this point it's just a matter of he can possibly Machine Chant as well and kill something, as there is a Berserker, which always makes me think of Clerks, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's very early in the movie. But there we go, Cluster Hex there. And is he going to Machine Chant one of these things? Yeah, he Machine Chants right here, so that's 3 down and then another dead. Charge Coil as well. Is it going to hit any of the hexed units? There we go. So 2 Languids as well, at least some things he can do with it. Plate Armor, which did receive a buff. Its health is increased by 1, which is nice. Untainted, which means that you can't be targeted by spells, but Area of Effect, things like Cluster Hex, you can target it. Berserker, probably a good target for Untainted, and there's the Metal Wonder damage. So we're going to get multiple Metal Wonder damage. I've played with fire with Metal Wonders, as you've seen recently. But at this point, Morre is really going to be trying to kind of etch for the kill, as there's the Magnetizer doing its best attempt to going attack. I don't know. So Blind Rage right now. If xlson casts Blind Rage, he could kill the Aging Knight, but that's not really going to do a lot. He could possibly sacrifice for Decay, double Languid, and see what other cards he can get. And he's going to have to hope that the Charge Coil can do something. And the Charge Coil can target through Untainted. I'm pretty sure, since this is random damage, it's not just an ability there. And once again, there's an enchant. Untainted was only spells or abilities, not enchants, as xlson is putting out the Ether Pump, at least trying to protect his other remaining idols with structures. And he does draw a burn, which will be good next turn. I'm so sorry, excuse me, I was not expecting that to happen. But here we go, just on the table here, creatures dying, Metal Wonder wondering what's going on. A few creatures down. Morre could play the Vetter of the Wild, but does better just to get cards. He could drop a Stag Heart on something, and that's what he's going to do. But Stag Heart, once again, every time he casts a spell, Metal Wonder says, thank you very much, I'll take that tithe. And drops the Winged Soldier as well, and now we have Morre top decking. And this is where xlson's in trouble, but he's still in this game because he does have creatures going, and right now the Magnetizer is just targeting the one creature it can to up its cooldown. I do believe its attack only affects... No, it's a unit that hits, so he could try and hit the Charge Coil, potentially, and knock it out. Or he could be attacking the Ether Pump, which will deal damage to everything, and that's not going to be pleasant. But right now it's your Iron Whip to at least take out another unit because of the curse, which is pretty sweet. And he has an Ilmar Tribesman, which is a pretty big card for 2 resources. It does have 3 cooldown though, so it is susceptible. Could drop a Proximity Charge as well, which would make Morre not very happy if he's trying to protect his bottom idol there. So there's a burn, draws a State Machine, which is actually really effective against this kind of Gojo's play. But we'll see what's happening here. Once again, the Charge Coil can affect this. And this is kind of the state that you can do here with just commentary, or at least just looking at games live. You get to have an opportunity to see not only what's going on in the game, but kind of seeing how long it takes other players to think, how long it takes them to take decisions here. As Morre puts up a Crown of Strength, this Berserker is very popular. When it deals damage, its attacks increase by 1, and right now, hopefully he can get back up to having more attack. xlson drawing a Solemn Giant though, and that can be a real game changer here. As meanwhile, Proximity Charge, those are very well placed. And xlson does not have enough necessarily to drop the Solemn Giant and use it. 10 resources is kind of your sweet spot for it, and you can see he's starting to build towards that. He's probably going to drop a State Machine down as well, if I had to guess, since he has 3 energy left. There we go. So putting this up here to once again protect the Charge Coil, and look at this. Suddenly Morre, who was so far ahead, is now going to have to deal with the fact that there's just so much on the board. And look at this placement with the Proximity Charges right here. Morre is not going to be able to pother that out of the way by himself. And right now, if he can't move this off, it's going to die. And let's hear, he actually, oh my gosh, he actually used Roasted Bean Potion. I was wondering where that heal happened, and it just kind of caught me so off guard. Yeah, Roasted Bean Potion, it does exist, and it does heal people by 2 now. And what do? You get the Metal Wonder is going to definitely die here. You figure that he'd rather do some different damage here, but there you go, at least trying to punch through the top here. His Berserker's still protected here, as it's getting just so much extra health, so much extra damage. These Charge Coils are going to keep zapping along, and the Ether Pump is going to be going soon as well. But at this rate, what can xlson do? Those Prox Charges are protecting his bottom lane, at least for now. He does have a Loyal Darkling, but at some point he's got to actually start hurting things as they come on. Just in some way, shape, or form. So there's the Solemn Giant. Once again, trying to get as many resources as he can, and you can see the pumps happening right there. But otherwise, Charge Coils are just going to zap again. Are we going to see a Magnetizer go away? Nope, we're going to get the Berserker being hurt again. So Caller's Bane is going to be sacrificed for yet another Caller's Bane. The idol on the same side are dealt 1 damage. That's kind of a really situational card here. I'm not sure if that's going to be great for him. But once again, their structures. Keep in mind, this is pre-con decks. They're not totally perfect or anything, but this is still a pretty good look at both of them as well. And I'll add a companion, like I said, I'll add a companion video to this to kind of show you what the pre-cons look like, because unfortunately I'm poor on the test server and I can't afford to buy the pre-constructed decks. Wham wham. Alright. And yeah, that's a sarcastic wham wham for those of you on the internet who can't hear. But xlson getting some creature control at least. My wonder is he going to actually protect his 1 Charge Coil? There's a Draining Mist to up the cooldown. That's a good play. And Clock Library as well, name of a card that was escaping me before. And he is going to try and let his Solemn Giant wreak havoc, and never have I seen such destruction as 8 damage takes out 1 health. Oh, that's a little tough, especially since the Solemn Giant was in front of the row of all the other units. But right now, here's energy. This is where it gets to the mid game. If he can get enough crap out on the board, it's going to be better days ahead. Because right now those charge coils could take out the other units before they can really do anything. And Morre surrenders. That's it. There is the surrender, and there is the end of the game. As they both requested I not text filth in there, but I'm really kind of tempted to text filth now. But once you leave the match, you just go right back up here. And there we go. Good game, guys. I didn't even realize that, hey, I was spectating, and now I can try and talk to people. Oh, wait, I'm talking to the other people who are spectating. So there we go. And right now, I'm not seeing them back in chat necessarily. There we go. Good game, guys. But just a... there we go. So I don't even know what I'm doing. But yeah, there we go. Live spectating. We have Narratic versus the Hard AI. And like I said, I don't really have the scrolls for us, and I'll pull a deck out in the future. But here are the pre-constructed decks we're talking about. They cost 8,000, and you can see they have some more advanced cards here. But here's just a quick rundown of what the decks look like. Once again, they're not perfect decks. They're not going to get you to 2,000 rating straight away. But what they will do is get you started with a dual resource deck. And if you notice there, they have some of the more expensive or valuable rares. So here's kind of your Gojo's deck as well. As you can see, lots of enchants, lots of tiny creatures. Only one Chemfolk Brave. That's interesting. But yeah, otherwise, this is Way to Fail. Just with a quick look on the test server, that's what Spectator Mode looks like. It's good stuff. Look forward to seeing that on live. It's going to be something that I think really benefits the community as a whole. But that's it for now. See you next time.